I got a 10-second delay, must be because I'm watching the stream there as well.
Mic check, mic check. 1 2 1 2. Am I low? Am I ready to go? I think I am.
Sound good to me.
Go ahead and do a mic check, Cychronic. Okay, I think
Hello. Yes.
that cough did it a bit. That cough did it a bit. All right, guys and girls, welcome to the Rarely Typical Player Podcast, aka RTP. Sorry for last week absence, but hey, better late than never, right? We are here. We have returned with Immortal Sins by Ace of Aces. Ace of Aces is a developer from, Kratos land, Zeus land. Those who may have heard of this game been around for a while. And a lot of hard work and dedication has been put into this game, Immortal Sins. So before we get into the meats and potatoes of this game, I want to introduce my co-host, of course. To my left, I have Marla Unjaded.
What's up? What's up?
Bada bing, bada boom. Bada bing, bada boom. Then to my right, I got the Captain Kirk of RPG Maker, aka Sci-Fi Mr. Extraordinaire, would take anything and create something unique out of it. Cychronic Games.
Hey, what's up?
All right, guys. So once again, we were given a task to play a game, and Immortal Sins was that game. All right, so to get you guys caught up, I'm gonna give you a quick synopsis about what Immortal Sins is about and what you can expect from this game if you decide to give it a download and give it a shot. Immortal Sins is a work in progress. The final version may be different from the development builds. In other words, this game is being currently worked on and can evolve at any given moment. Step into the shoes of Moreira, a noble girl on a distant island who was exiled for a murder she never committed. Now away from her mother and her little sister, she and Elena, a trainee dragon slayer, will travel across cities and kingdoms to uncover the truth and seek redemption. However, what she finds may be the key to change the entire world. So that's the quick synopsis about Immortal Sins. So basically, most RPGs, there's either, the kingdoms at stake, there's an evil warlord, there's an evil wizard, there's somebody that's not up to any good trying to control and dominate the world. But this game, guys, this freaking game, what stood out to me was she is exiled for a murder that she did not commit. Man, that's like some Matlock type stuff, some Heat of the Night type stuff. Like who done it? Who done it? So, like always, guys, we're gonna talk about the story of the game, the mechanics, the gameplay, anything, every avenue that makes a game a game. So how should we start this off, fellas? Like what did we get from the synopsis? Like what could we have taken from reading this little part?
Yeah, I guess I can start. When I didn't I started playing the game. I didn't read the synopsis,
Okay.
and just looking at the title, I was curious when I read Immortal Sins. I was like, what did the title mean, right? I'm like, what kind of sin did an immortal commit? Or what type of sin would be considered an immortal sin? Like a sin that can never be absolved, or
Mm.
a sin that is always there, a sin that an immortal committed, right? So I was curious, like the title is intriguing, but also a little like I don't know. I just have those random questions when I hear it. Does the title,
That's a
but
good
the
point.
yeah, but the synopsis I think is a good synopsis in general, right? Gives you a taste of the story and stuff. So I wish I would have read it. What do you think, Cychronic?
I also did not read the synopsis, but I downloaded the game and gave it like 3.5 hours, and I did gather that what was said from the synopsis, which was that the main character was framed for a murder she didn't commit, and was exiled as a result. Yeah, I just thought I'd download it and give it a spin, right? So
All right, so
I didn't think much of the title or anything. I just was like, okay, let's try. It sounds cool. Let's try this out.
yeah, immortal sins. Sin is if you're religious. We're not going to talk about religion or anything, but given the idea that immortal sin is kind of like a sin that is basically unforgiven, or something that's like really taboo in the world of RPG or just human nature in itself. So let's just say this. Starting off, it is a girl named Elena. I mean, Moreira. Moreira is the main character, and she has been, well, before we even get to the Beachz and Potatoes, she's an ordinary girl. This is a character who you wouldn't even think twice about picking in the video game or even in the character creation, selection. This is an ordinary country girl who lives with her mother and her little sister and don't know a lick about anything. So just the idea of stepping outside of the box and giving us a character that doesn't really stand out to like some of the discussion we were having earlier, like the likes of Cloud or Chrono from Chrono Trigger. This is an ordinary girl who really has nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
just the idea of Ace going this route, and especially as you guys could see the titles, like the graphic art, it gives you an idea of a good girl having to like go through intense training so she can be a heroine or something that we love and expect of why she maybe been convicted of murder.
All right, hold on, D7. So I hope you're not spoiling later in the game. Are you?
I'm not spoiled. I'm just staying on the synopsis.
Okay.
Because the synopsis already tells you what's going on.
Oh yes, yeah, a trainee Dragon Slayer. Right. So we can talk about, I guess, like the first few hours.
We're talking about Moreira.
Yeah.
Right now, not Elena. Elena's already brought up in the Art of Chaos Ken. But Moreira, this is an ordinary peasant girl. So what's so special about her? You know what I mean? Like just just as a player standpoint, why should I pick this game other than the title name or the synopsis name?
Yeah,
That's just my point.
Yeah, let's jump straight into the story, right? Let's jump to the story. Do you want to do that part?
Yeah.
Then we can get to the gameplay and stuff. All right, so I'm going to speak more verbally on the first 3 or 4 hours, I guess, of the game.
Okay.
And then Moreira, I'm going to speak more about my opinion of Moreira. So to start, Moreira, I think, even though, like you said, she don't really have no origins, right? No experience and stuff. She kind of like she don't have no experience fighting. But the way they, I guess, Ace or the developer like writes the character, she seems like open to explore. She's already got that I want to get out and go kind of vibe to her. And when something tragic happens to her, I guess, all right, because I ain't gonna say it immediately. I feel like personally she had a certain amount of grit to her that help her keep the story going, or help her keep her in the fight, given what happens to her after she go out with like Gus and Elena.
Hold on, guys.
That audio sounded strange.
Yeah.
Nah, the video. I was wondering why the video on the timer now is playing. All right, go ahead, my guy.
Okay.
Sorry to cut you off.
I think the story overall starts off probably stronger than any RPG I've played during the podcast so far.
What?
Yeah, because it was tough getting through it. I'm gonna be honest. All of the games have, other than the yep, for sure. Because there was one game we played that had an exciting intro where you were fighting that huge mech with the little ship, and then your ship crashed. I don't know if you crash or you land or something like that. But then you had to solve that mystery.
Yeah, that was live, Caleb.
Yeah, live Caleb. That took like forever. And then I got past that. That was just a prologue. Yo, like literally my eyes was kind of dragging during that the solving the mystery scene. But in Immortal Sins, I'm not saying it's like crazy, mind-blowing, exciting, but it was like certain elements of it. Now it could be done better, and I want to talk about that when we talk about the gameplay and stuff like that. But how the story develops, it kind of makes an attempt to keep your interest. Like when Gus pops up, Gus's attitude. Hang on. All right, so what's her name? Moreira goes outside, gets into a fight with Elena in a not Elena, but somebody that's like picking on Elena or something like that in the beginning. That had a little bit of color to it, made me want to get to the next part. Then Gus pops up. He's got color to his character. He's all mysterious and stuff like that. So I had a character I could latch onto. We get to the part where they all want to go somewhere together, and it's got an inch of humor in it. Where that one guy with the funny face that ends up being like the pseudo tank for this mission in a cave. Because first of all, he's not a tank. We can talk about the battle system like when we get to that. But I think the elements were strung together. Hold on, I am echoing for someone.
I don't think you. I mean, I don't hear no echo.
That's me. I'm sorry.
I hear an echo.
Taking care of it right now.
It's y'all janky computer.
Yeah. All right. But it's going crazy. I'm gonna fix it. But yeah, I think it came together to the one shocking scene where she gets stabbed in the eye or something like that.
With the blood curdling scream.
Yeah, I got no. So I think that scream was a little off-putting because it was like everything in the game is pretty low, and then you hear that it's super loud. But
I mean, if somebody stabs you in your eye, I don't
It would
think you
hurt.
be. I don't think you be low. So.
I know, like, I can't say it don't fit,
Whew.
but it's surprising to me where I'm playing the game, I'm clicking, it's like, so
I kind of liked it. I liked it.
I think it should have led up to it, like, maybe a sound change, like a music change, build up, like, something like that.
Like them old school movies, like them silent
Yeah.
movies that change that dun 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 dun
Yeah.
dun 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 dun.
Get the player ready for something like that, just a little bit more, because they was talking to the guy that I think assassin they were trying to catch and kill.
Yeah.
And then build up with the music. I think that'd be great. But otherwise, yeah, that was the scene, honestly, that got me into the game.
Mhm.
I was like, dang, she got stabbed in the eye, and then she was in the bed. The dialogue was a little sketchy, but needless to say, she was a real one because she saved Gus, just stepping in. So I got hooked a little bit.
Mhm.
So so what y'all think as far as that much?
What about you, Sakrana? What's your voice on this?
I actually thought that the game had pretty decent like character development. I do think that there was, there were. I would describe it as like almost like some parts feel like it's a storyboard where there's like a piece that needs to be in between that's not there. But I get what it's doing, so I did enjoy the game. I do remember the characters. I actually really like the hand-drawn style of the characters. They have a unique style. I don't know if Ace drew those or if somebody else made those or whatever, but I don't know.
I think they're custom.
I think they look hand-drawn and like scanned in.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're cool. I like them. When it comes to the character, I actually think that Maria or whatever is the main character. I think with all the stuff that she's being put through, it's kind of showing. It's like that's the journey is kind of like she's getting stronger, having to like figure out herself, being put in this type of situation, and does get stronger as a result. And as far as I can tell so far, and we got these other characters. Eventually, there's actually a lot of characters, and some of them seem to get a little bit more attention than others. Later you can swap them out, and there's like I don't know how many by the end of the game, but there ends up being quite a few characters in this game. So, yeah, and it would suck to lose an eye for sure.
Exactly.
You wouldn't want to lose your eye, would you?
Nah. All right, so the game story, unravels pretty decent at a good pace. Yeah. You have your shady characters, you got your suspicious characters. You have who the good guys, who potentially is the bad guys, and especially with the open cut scene, you got this wizard looking guy coming in. Everybody's throwing everything that they could at this guy to stop this guy, and they can't do nothing, and he just obliterates everyone. So that right there is will get your attention, like, man, what the heck is going on, or who is this guy? And now we transition to Maria, who's just an ordinary girl who mother sends her on an errand to get this and that. Then next thing just everything just break loose. So we don't want to give too much spoiler of the story, but I can tell you this, it's kind of like you feel for Maria and you want to get revenge for her. You really want to you want her to win and come out, come out on top. Now, each supporting character has a backstory. Each supporting character has a backstory, and I feel like that's one of the strongest points of this game is the writing. For Ace being a Greek, I think he speaks Greek natively. That's his first language. The writing, the translation is done pretty well. I think the story, it presents itself to any player to want to play more and get more into it. But
I found that this game was story-wise, it was very character-driven. A little bit I feel like the plot was a little fuzzier than the characters, so to speak. The characters themselves, their motivations, they seem pretty clear, and there's a lot of like connecting things for these characters based on what they go through in the story and everything like that. But I was just a little bit fuzzier on exactly what, okay, framed for a murder, and then now what are we doing now, what? And it just kept going, but I don't know if I would find out more if 5 hours in or 7 hours in. But
yeah, I mean, yeah. The game shows you exactly what happened. So it's not completely a mystery to the player, because as the player, it's not like you don't know what happened. You actually do know what happened. It's just the character itself don't really know what happened. But go ahead.
Hold on, D7, because when I watched it, oh man, see, now I don't know if we're getting into spoiler territory. Well, I'm gonna talk about that very beginning. I would call it it's not technically the prologue, but that prologue setup scene when the actual murder occurs.
Mm-hmm.
Hold up, dude. Did we see who actually murdered the guy?
You know who did it. You know that you didn't do it.
Right, but we don't know who actually did do it, do we?
That's a mystery.
I didn't know who did it.
Okay, yeah, all right. No, I'm not crazy, right? Because she gets framed. The guy comes in and he's like, "We've got the thing from her dad and something else that she had," and they're like, "Boom, it's got to be you, Moreira." And then they go to the village elder or something like that. Right. So technically, in the beginning, you don't know, right? For sure. But I wanted to point out, I wanted to emphasize or follow up on Cychronic's point about the character driving the story. A murder mystery is tough to come off of. However, you start doing things that aren't directly tied to solving a murder mystery. When you're framed for a murder, and they're literally trying to kill her, I think at that point she has an option to I thought that the motive then switches to how can I clear my name, right? But it didn't seem to do that. It just was you go to a town, you gotta talk to somebody else, you gotta go to the guild, turn this in. I think for story's sake, there probably should be a overlapping quest, one giant quest that states that you're trying to clear your name, right? And you don't necessarily complete that objective, but it's there to remind you that you were praying. So I think that's what it seemed like the plot got fuzzy.
Okay. Yeah, guys, we're just not trying to give you guys spoilers, guys. It's kind of difficult because the game jumps right into that like within the first hour. You know, you're going through the hardest thing that this poor country girl has ever been through her life within the first hour.
She seems to take it pretty well, though.
That too. Me, I be tearing everything up. I be Rambo. Terminator, one man army. Trying to get to the bottom of it.
But you don't kind of get that vibe. You do get the excitement. She wants to be a dragon slayer, so there's also that, which I like. Somebody in the chat said like, "Why always dragon slayers? Why not dragon helpers?" And I agree with that. Dragon slayer sounds cool, so maybe they stuck with that in the story. But yeah, I do resonate with that a little bit. I didn't get to fight a dragon yet, as far as I got in the story. So. I don't know. Well,
Dragon Slayers is kind of like a class name, not necessarily, or don't necessarily mean you're gonna fight a dragon. That's what you are, like a dragoon, you know.
But in this game, she does actually say that it was for killing dragons.
Yeah.
We talked about it. Yeah, at the table. I like the dynamic between Moreira and her sister, even though it was a little jank, but it showed like she had a family, she cared about her family. Oh, and her mom. I liked the whole dynamic with her mom too. She seemed like, dang, did you have to play with the mom for a second? No. I think it was like a cutscene. She's like walking around, and then you got to go home type of deal. I don't know. So I think I like it, that dynamic, like the side character dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it probably can be shortened for the sake of getting the player back into the game. That's just my 2 cents about it. Other than that, like I really like that.
Brent Ross has said the dude in the black cloak looks like a dark cultist to me. I mean, Gus stands out, man. The dude stands out. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I like him.
Yeah, like when I played the game, I liked Gus even more than Rick. I don't know about Rick, but Gus, you know what I'm saying? I think his writing is good overall, but a little bit it's in different places sometimes. Sometimes he's comic relief because of his directness. Sometimes he's like mysterious because of his directness, or like how he approaches things. And like I ain't gonna lie, one time when we were in the dungeon trying to catch the assassin himself doesn't have a graphic image, so when he's talking you can't tell. I thought it was Gus talking, and I was like, hold on. Elena come here to kill Gus for a second. This is when I was watching the gameplay before I played it myself. I was watching Psychronic's upload, and I was like confused. I was like, because you're walking, he kind of pops up out of nowhere because they actually split up. Yeah, if on the screen they're talking. This is what I'm talking about when you get to the end of this here. So I would say, if they could just maybe give that assassin an image, or make it so that his text is more separate, make it more apparent that it's the assassin talking and not Gus, because Gus, his whole MO is being mysterious and being like deadly and stuff, so I got kind of weird.
Yeah, I think every character needs a face, pretty much.
It'd be preferred for sure.
Like every character NPC.
I know it's a big
or just
if it's a storyline part.
Storyline character needs one.
I like to give every character, every NPC a face, though, even the ones that don't matter.
You know how much money
they have something to say too.
If this is custom drawn and maybe he paid somebody, that's. And I think this is a free. Sure. I think this is a free game.
It is.
So
But I don't know if there's plans to have it go commercial later or something, like when it's more near completion.
Okay, the game's on MV, but characters are on VSA style. So we know the girl, well, Moreira, she's basically framed for a murder that she has to commit, and now she's out to either find who did it or find why she was framed. Why did they frame her? You know, I mean, because you gotta think about it. She's the last person you would think that would kill someone.
I mean, yeah. As far as you know her now, yes, for sure. Because she has a family, right? She's taking care of her sister.
Yeah.
She has no motives to be like, okay, outside of wanting to be a murderer, outside of wanting to be like a dragon slayer, or like she wants to take on like contracts to kill assassins or something like that. Like, I don't know if that's just Gus's thing, but I guess I'm not clear on that either, right? Is the Dragon Slayers kill all the assassins? You know what I'm saying? Remember, so their town, I think they had an assassin problem or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
The town that Moreira came from. So she was excited about going and taking care of that. So that alludes to her bloodlust. I mean, I'm playing around, but like, no, I think her character face value shows that she's like a loving, caring person. Got Elena as a friend, but one adventurers. So you wouldn't assume that she ride or die. She basically took a dagger in the eye for her homie. Was it Rick or Gus? I think it was Rick. Right.
Yeah, she the boss of the level, you know, end up doing some type of crazy thing, and boom.
Yeah, so
there you have
I
it.
think the player wouldn't immediately assume her to be the killer. So that is like a big hook for any story, right? You kind of want to take that who done it narrative to see. At the end, maybe she could have been the one that did it, or maybe it was Elena set up Moreira. Who knows, right? Like,
yeah.
So it is. I think that's a good premise for a story. So
yeah.
But what is the immortal sin, though? Do we know? Is that explained in the story?
It seems like it would be the idea that you
a murder is a
that you were framed for something you didn't commit. That's like one of the. I mean, I would consider that a pretty bad sin. You know, if you frame someone
framing
else
or the murdering.
Well, right, but like someone else takes the heat for something they didn't even do. I mean, that's pretty bad.
All right, so the framing.
For that character, you know.
I see what you're saying. But the framing wouldn't be as bad as the murdering. Or how about the person that was murdered? That person, because it was like a high.
Framing is worse than the actual murder. Yeah, because you're condemning the innocent person to either death or being exiled for something they didn't do. Yeah, that's the worst thing. That's even.
Yeah, all right.
That's bad. That's not taking responsibilities for your own actions. You're not being accountable. So now you getting this innocent person who never did nothing in their life, never harmed a soul.
All right, so checks out. You got the commissioner, right? One guy that is blaming Moreira for the murder, but then you got the actual murderer. You got these two guys standing in front of you, but you got one jail. One person can fit in that one jail. Who you putting in the jail?
You want to put whoever's did the crime, right?
So that's where my dynamic is saying, like, the act of the murder is worse than the framing of the murderer, right? So yes, framing somebody is super bad. But when you looking at two guys that committed like their individual crimes, and you only got one jail, you can only put one of them in there. Which one would you put in, right? I would put the actual murderer in there,
Yeah.
and you would probably fine or seek reparations from the framer.
Right,
That's
but
just my
wasn't the
opinion.
but wasn't the framer the murderer?
Hmm?
Or do we have a different or a third group that's the framing?
We don't
view?
know, right? I don't
Yeah.
know. We don't know. As far as I got in the story, we don't know. And we don't want to. We don't want to.
Let's make this make sense. If somebody unalive someone, right, and another person get blamed for it because they were near the scene. That person is still out there. Now you got an innocent person who can get unalive and punished for something they didn't do, and that's non-repair. You cannot repair that, even if
killer off the hook.
even if they find the killer later. And this is true. Like, it happens in real life. People get put on death row for crimes they didn't commit, and
But
years later they found out this person was innocent, never did a thing, that was framed, because it's bad. It hurts.
Check this out though. Check this out. The title is plural, Immortal Sins with an S. So maybe talk about both the murder and the frame. Boom, right?
Yeah, Immortal Sins. Yeah.
Yeah, so
It seems like it means sins that can't be redeemed, like you can't go back from.
yeah.
So there's multiple sins in that regard.
Overall, right. Overall, how would you? Do we want to put a rating on the story, or do we want to talk about how we would improve the story, or do we want to move on to gameplay?
So far, the who done it and the motive it stands strong. I really think the title both is catching, and the events that led up to the exile is catching as well. So it definitely holds weight, and that's the part that I'm going to get to. I'm not going to go beyond that, because I think that right there is enough to get a person interested in at least downloaded it and trying the game. So are we doing out of 5 or out of 10?
I like 10.
Yeah, I've been doing out of 10 lately, personally.
I give it a solid 8. I give it an 8.
Okay. I was actually thinking the same thing, 8, right? And so there's some things that make it an 8. But
I changed my score. 8.1.
All right, 8. Okay, all right. Cychronic, what you think?
I'm gonna say 7.5. I think that 7.5 isn't bad. I think that character driven, it's pretty good.
That's a C. That's a C,
but I also think that the plot needs a little bit more of a connection points between it in a better way. Sometimes I thought we can get on the gameplay stuff later, but I would give it a 7.5 in its current state. But I could see how quickly it could get up to a 9.
For sure.
How can it get to a 9? Like, is this something that you have an idea?
Well, as far as I can tell, in the first 3 hours, there were some characters that were more developed than others. Like sometimes I felt like there was some ones that were just kind of tagging along at a certain point. And then also, I don't know. I would like to see the plot thicken a little bit more. So like, it's not just about her being framed for a murder, right? Like, what's going on even deeper than that, right?
Okay.
So,
all right, so yeah, let me real quick say why I give it an 8, right?
All right.
So I give it an 8 because the first 5 points in my 10-point scale will go to having that foundation of characters, locations, backstories, and then like the next 2 points up to a 7 is like motives and your plot, right? What gave it an 8 for me was the detail. Okay, so she took a dagger in the eye. Now she got a bandana over her eye. She looked that much more, bristled, right? I don't know, right? So it that attention to detail really stuck with me. She like the guy, the developer was able to kind of give the characters their own flavor. Elena kind of a little boring though, even though she's supposed to be like cool dragon slayer though.
Yeah.
But ways I think it could go from a 8 to a 9 or a 10 is if they included some more tidbits that, okay, one point I would say if the player could interact with the story, like, okay, give your own, you know how we play RPGs, you can give like option, it's like 2 sentences where you say, hey man, I don't think it's right, why you framing me, or I would do anything for my friends, right? And you could select that. When she took the dagger in the eye, give your player an option to select, like, yeah man, I ain't really want to catch that dagger in my eye because I ain't really like you like that, Rick. Or Rick, yeah, I'm saying you're a cool person, so I'm down to, I'm down for my friends or something like that. You know what I mean? That immersion really bumps that up in an RPG. So I think it would have put it to the 9. And then the whole so you gotta kind of believe where you're at when it comes to like the story and the places, the characters, stuff like that. So immersion would have put it to the 10. I think when I'm walking around, I got a little confused at like the hierarchy, when it's not confusing, it just kind of seems like how maybe because I ain't played enough, so I'll play it more. But I'm just like, how this guy just walk up into town and just like, yo, you did it. So some of the way the plot unraveled was a little, you gotta let me know a little more about the weight of the characters that came in. I think it did it for a second, but like I want to feel the weight. Like, I don't know if y'all watched this anime, what's it called, Black Clover.
I knew you was gonna say that.
Dang, for real?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you know what I'm talking about then, right? They got the magic council, and then they got the certain ranks of the council and all that stuff. That whole world, that felt like an RPG. When you watch Black Clover, the anime, it feels like an RPG. So yeah, so that's my take on gameplay. I mean, on story, yo. I guess we could jump into gameplay.
All right. So Ace of Ace, if you're watching still, my guy, give the player a little bit more, immersion into the story.
Like the character development is pretty good, but the plot especially needs to be a little bit tightened up a little bit, in my opinion. But the story, the characters are cool. I actually remember them, and that's a good sign.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
All right, so Maria's exile. That's up to the turn point of the story where the plot has really thickened. Is are we gonna bring down or get revenge, or unravel the truth of why she was chosen and framed? So just like every game, guys, there's things to do in the game, from when you started all the way up to the first battle and all the way up to opening your first treasure chest. Gameplay. Is this game even worth playing? Let's talk about gameplay, fellas.
All right, who wants to start?
Yeah, so I felt like the gameplay was serviceable. it didn't really have it doesn't really have much in the way of like fancy character sprites or action sequences or whatever, but the battles didn't tend to take too long, which was nice. Sometimes though, I felt like the regular attack was stronger than some of the attacks you could learn. I do like that it had a skill learn system. I liked I actually like games with larger parties in them too. So I think there's even more than 5. I think there's 6 in certain parts.
It's more.
I felt like the combat was a little basic. It kind of felt like a standard front facing RPG Maker combat. But the skill learn system was different than what you normally see, so that was cool. As far as like not just the battles, but like the actual game play itself, like walking around on the maps and stuff, it did kind of feel like I was playing, a VX Ace game, even though it was MV, but that's okay. Some of the dungeons seemed a little basic, like almost like if you had like a bunch of made a maze with like the maze generator in the engine or something. And then there was also some game. If I didn't have an earlier save file, there was some game breaking bugs, such as like if the aisleways in these dungeons are 1 tile wide, and if you run from a battle, the enemy stands there with a question mark that repeats over their head, and you can't, and it doesn't expire, and you can run into the enemy as much as you want, and a battle won't start. And so if I didn't have a previous save file, I would have been not able to go to the next part in the game.
You gotta start over again.
Yep.
That's
Hey,
crazy.
Cychronic, let me ask you a question. What does it mean when you said it felt like you're walking around a VX game versus the MV?
Like the style of graphics and stuff, like the tile sets and stuff from that time.
Oh, okay.
Like RPG Maker XP to VX Ace-ish era.
Oh, okay.
So I'm guessing that Ace has probably been working on this game for a long time, even before MV, and then switched it over at some point. But because my game was the same way. My game used to be VX Ace, and I switched it all over to MV.
So the sprites and stuff kind of gave off that vibe of
Yeah,
the older engine. Wow, 10 years. Somebody just probably can just put that 10 years.
Why?
Hey, man, I don't feel too bad about my game. Now I'm about to get back on my games. But oddly enough, I think it had a little bit of charm, right? If I could jump in, right, as far as when I fired it up, things I liked immediately was the mapping. I liked the custom sprites. Like, they were a little rough, especially Rick's eyes. Rick's eyes looked like he on something, but it was charming to see the custom drawings. So I got the faces on there. So I didn't know it was like a V. I think I might have skipped in my RPG journey. I probably skipped VX Ace. So I seen a little bit of it, of like what the sprites look like. So I understand. But I also liked certain details that the developer took, like the shape of the house map is also the shape of the house on the town map, right? You ever walk into like a rectangle house, but then it's like L shape inside. That's annoying, but I like the fact they respected that. I did run into one bug where I would win a battle, but the reward screen would freeze. I'd have to like click off and then click back in. Yeah, so I don't know what's going on with that.
Computer issues.
Yes, I don't know. I was playing with controller at one point, but then I switched to mouse and keyboard because the buttons were a little wonky on the controller. I couldn't remember what button was what. But I like how when you talk to NPCs, they got an icon over them that lets you know you can talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I got some things. Oh, okay. Anyway, I like the attempt at otherworldly systems. Yeah, I like so as far as gameplay, but this is dipping back into the world building. When they talked about the communication sphere and the Corsairs, that group and stuff, I like that. So I definitely mentions that as a like. Um, it seemed like Maria wasn't shocked that her eye was destroyed. Uh, Maria, because they use the word pretty sure when they asked like Maria if she committed the murder, I think that was a little weird because it's like you shouldn't be pretty sure. You should be like absolutely sure you didn't commit the murder.
Unless
I'm
she
going
was
back to
sarcastic. She was being sarcastic.
maybe so. Yeah. When I came out of the hospital, I didn't know where to go specifically, right? So I think sometimes when you get control back after a cutscene or something like that, it would help a player with a short attention span like myself to get some sort of reminder of like where you were supposed to go or something like that. Specifically the hospital because I think I had to, in order to initiate the framing scene, I had to go like into my house and then come back out the house to try to find my mother or something like that, right? Okay, so I already said the scream scene was pretty loud. Da, 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 da. Okay, starting the game with no weapons was unusual to me. So I would recommend you give me a stick or something as like a default item. I noticed I didn't have any weapons. But that might be my fault because I ain't buy no weapons before I went into the cave with
Make this make.
like
I'm sorry, but make this make sense. Who's gonna walk around with a stick in the RPG Maker game?
I'm saying I gotta have something. If I'm supposed to go kill an assassin, I should already have.
He said a stick, or
I was like anything, right? Like you need anything. I just didn't know like. And I didn't have no money either for it. I didn't have no money. So I couldn't gear up for the assassin quest. So I would say like develop like consider that. Yeah. All right, as far as gameplay, I'm gonna get back into the like big overall RPG like engine mechanics. I noticed some Yanfly plugins with the quest journal, which is okay. Navigating the Yanfly quest journal, in my opinion, is a little clunky, but it's okay. It's serviceable. The stat screen is a little overwhelming. I didn't personally use that plugin because it shows you too much stuff. In battle, I was like, oh shoot, I'm weak to stone. Why am I weak to stone? Go to the status screen. It's got like your resistance. You're like 150% damage, so you are weak to stone. And I was just like, I don't know why me as a human, I'm weak to stone. I mean, Maria's just weak to stone. But anyway, I learned that. But honestly, I always think that too many elements of like when you got to worry about so many elements and stuff like that for your heroes is a little bit overwhelming. So keep it in if you want, but if it was up to me, I would have pulled that out in lieu of like in place of like a simpler status screen. The two next level and then the next level is a little bit misleading because they've got progress bars. 2 progress bars is just confusing. My colors must have been weird. I'm just rambling off. I'm sorry. When I came out the house and I couldn't tell the time of day it was, so I'm guessing it was the daytime, but it looked like dusk or like the sun's going down. That was a lighting thing. So I think the battle screen had too many screens, and the result, like the battle result screen was like your EXP, your LP, something else, and then you left. So I thought that was a little bit much.
There was a lot of in the combat though. There was a lot of times where like your regular attack was stronger than like a special attack that required like plenty of MP or whatever.
Yeah.
So sometimes I would just be like attack to get through the battles.
Yeah.
Not the attack.
I know. I didn't do that. I think I was forced to think because I didn't get equipment until I got to.
Yeah, I got the equipment. I that's the first thing I did was I got all the equipment I could, and then went in, and then it was like super easy, pretty much.
Yeah, I ain't have no money. I don't know, so I should have like grinded for some more money. But okay, having armored gloves being a weapon was confusing to me. So I'm gonna just put that out there. I just think like the naming I think so when I noticed the equipment screen, it had like a left weapon, a right weapon, or something like that, and then it had your head, your hands, your body, your feet, and 2 accessories. I thought that was a little bit too much, and that's just my opinion. Because I gotta buy all that stuff, and you go to the shop, I couldn't afford none of that stuff, and then there was a few options to choose from, and it was like a lot. I just think start off with a little bit, end up with a lot. That's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, I don't really have a problem with lots of equip slots and stuff. I kind of like it, but I wasn't necessarily thinking that you'd necessarily have to buy everything though. Like maybe finding some of it in the dungeons on more occasion would be good as well. So.
For sure, yeah. All right, so I think they should probably think about the font chosen for the text. I think it's fine. It looks good, but you have a town called Eos. I don't know if it's like ILLOS. I'm guessing it is. Is it 3 I's or is it an L and 2 L's? An I and 2 L's. So I couldn't tell.
I think it was an I and 2 L's.
Okay, great.
Elos makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It just looks like if it's written in the middle of a sentence, you can't tell if it's an uppercase I or a lowercase L.
Yeah, I can see that. It does look a little on the basic side as far as the font is, but that's not horrible either. I mean, it looks fine to me. But
Font is okay. I like it.
I like the font overall. Actually, I really do like it. It's just I couldn't. Like they just showed it Eos, but I mean I know how to pronounce it. Was it Eos?
Probably a Greek word.
It looks like Elos.
Okay, that was my thing.
Yeah. 1 I and 2 L's.
1 I and 2 L's. Yeah.
Yeah, 1 I 2 L's. Cool. Okay, great. The last thing I noticed that I'm gonna ramble on about is the Gab plugin. I think the Gab plugin was unnecessary in some situations, specifically the bounty rewards and the auto save. So when you walk in and out of maps, you'll get the auto save like right here on the screen. Oh, not on this one. But I think when you leave towns and enter towns, you get the auto save, and it just kind of lingers too long. It lingers almost like longer than the title of the town when you walk in. So maybe there's a plugin you can make autosave pop up. I think by default the Yamfly autosave plugin pops up some text right there in the lower right corner. You can maybe make that it's an icon or something that flashes, right? You know, like Elden Ring or any little game. And yeah, that's what I got, man. What y'all got? Sorry for rambling.
No, you're fine.
Okay.
Didn't even get to the battle system yet. My bad. But go ahead, D7.
I mean, overall the gameplay is fine. You know, it's not like overly done, nor is it extraordinary like playing a like a recent game. I think because the fact that this game is so retro. You know, it's about a decade old when the developer started doing this game. So you're going from a older engine like Beachz that ran on scripts. Now you ported it to a newer engine, MV, which is your popular one, that everybody and their mama is developing on, and it still feels like it's a VX game. We didn't upgrade, you know, a lot of things that should have been upgraded, you know, in terms of, you know, gameplay wise. But I can say this. It has all the bells and whistles that your standard JRPG has, you know, later on in the game. But in the beginning, I'm not reading Harlequin. Somebody block Harlequin. but the game should have got an overhaul in terms of style, graphics, as the engine evolved. Because, like I said, it looks good. Don't get me wrong, it looks good. Like the map,
Sure.
I complimented the map. You know, the map looks good, but I feel like there's some aspect. It could have used a little bit more in terms of gameplay. But other than that, I mean, it looks good. You know,
it's functional.
Yeah,
it does what it needs to do.
Yeah, but for the time it's been in the oven, you know, you would think that, hey, we will be at this level, or at least a commercial level, because technically that's how long most commercial games are in the oven for, about 5, 6, maybe 7 years, you know. But and me personally, I like VX games. I think VX games are better than MV games. Some of them are, you know, in terms of gameplay. I really feel that. But
yeah, I agree. It was a different time, I guess. Like, so the RPG Maker community has
oh my God,
has changed a little bit over the years, I think.
Harlequin got jokes. I'm telling you. But I mean, when I first I first played this game when I first started streaming. You know what I'm saying? So I think I played this game at least 3 years ago when I first played this game. And I seen changes. Like the changes. Like you see all that. The game, I mean, it looks good. It performs great. But at the same time, there's some things I wish that was changed. Like the menu, for example. You got combat, mystic, and drive. You know, I think it's a lot of menus inside of a menu. And when are we on combat? Like, we're not talking about that yet?
One last thing I wanted to mention about the gameplay thing was and then we can jump straight into combat. Where was it at? Status screen. Dang, all right, forget it. Sorry, let's jump into combat. So yeah, overall we're gonna focus on the combat, but we can reference gameplay elements and how they, you know, pertain to the combat.
Yeah, but the end my point on the gameplay, as you get further on into the game, it becomes something where it is explorable. You do backtrack. You do get, you know, what you expect in an RPG. You know, it just for what you get in terms of development wise, you know, sometimes it just feels a bit outdated, if that makes sense. But other than that, you know, it's a solid game. It's a solid game. You know, I would consider it as, you know, something if you like your mystery, your standard adventure, your exploration, doing weird quests, finding items, getting rewarded, then this game is definitely worth picking up.
Yeah, and I think the last point I want to make is like, please give me a hook to want to play the game. I know there's probably a really great story behind the game. I know like the whole world looks pretty and stuff like that, but I want to intentionally want to get into a battle. I know like older RPGs give you that like random battle where you just walk 3 steps, you never know when you're going to get a battle. Yeah, I don't recommend that, but if like you put some rare drops or some sort of drops that are useful, maybe I'll want to get into a battle to get that to drop. Or I think the experience was a little bit like too far between, like too many battles. I need to do too many battles to level up. And then the learn points, that's what I'm going to mention. The learn points was I had to go learn how the learn point system worked, like teach myself. But it took too many learn points to get to the next skill. So I would rather just give me less skills and let me kind of lean into, let me get another skill using less learn points on my own. That way I can know, all right, after 5 or so battles, what did I unlock next? Let me see, right? I'm leaning more, because it's like the gameplay section, I'm like an advocate of how can you hook me into this game? How can you make me want to constantly battle? How can you make me want to engage with the different elements of the game? If it's an RPG where you can make me want to talk to the characters, you're already doing something right? You making me want to run outside and grind and then run in and see if I can afford that next sword, you're doing something right. So yeah, I don't want to say throw more mechanics into your system, but there's already stuff like maybe it's a 1% chance to get a certain rock, and then if I give that rock to another character, maybe they'll appraise it into some piece of metal, and then I can do, I'm thinking Ocarina of Time trading system. I'm taking this one key item all the way up to the top in order to get like the Bigoron sword, you know what I mean? So any little element that'll get me hooked into the game, I'm a real big advocate of. So I would encourage the developer to like think of something like that. Maybe he drops a key and then you can open up a chest with the key, things like that,
All right. Battle system. System.
Yeah.
Hey, look, everybody strives to create a unique battle system in their RPG Maker game. Did Ace of Ace, did he accomplish that in this game?
No,
Let's talk about it. He didn't even give me time to finish. He just said no. He
That's
just said no.
It was okay,
bro.
but it was just standard RPG Maker combat.
Come on,
That's the
bro.
truth though. But I'm gonna take his side. I'm gonna take Ace's side. I'm gonna take the developer side on this one and say like, that's what we play it for, right? Like it's an RPG, So I can't knock that it is traditional, and I think it could be implemented a little bit better though.
Come on, all right, give facts.
All right, so let's take it back to the battles that occurred when you had 4 players in the beginning of the game.
Okay.
Okay, so the first battle with Rick, against Rick actually, was I guess your introduction into the battle system. Where that's when you learn that it's a front-facing battle system. And I think I don't remember, so don't roast me, that they teach you about, I guess I don't know, maybe they teach you about the learn points. I don't even know. So like I said, I had to relearn that there was a learn point system when I get LP and stuff like that. So imagine a person that does not know enough about RPG Maker is trying to play a game. You know what I mean? Earn points is going to be a struggle for them. They ain't even going to know if they get new points. They're not going to know if they have gear on them, period. So really toning it down, like really limiting what you have and allowing the player to grow into the certain abilities, I think is best, right? So you want to start them off with an iron sword, then start them off with one ability that they just spam until they get the second ability. The second ability is a little bit better, or it's different. It helps solidify the role of the characters that you're playing as. Okay, maybe he's got increase my defense ability, right? So I'm talking really basic. So Immortal Sins, though, it just kind of gave you like a template. Boom, you got these guys. You go into the tunnel. The battle, I think, is seemingly solid at face value, but Rick is not a tank at all in this dungeon. For some reason, he's supposed to be the tank, but from my experience, he can provoke, but then he'll just die. So that's what I noticed. And then actually, like I said, so I am not a fan of the front-facing battle system, but I do not count the game out if it's like that. So I play it, but I noticed that the damage numbers were a little fuzzy, right? So when the enemy gets attacked, damage number pop up. When the hero gets attacked, the damage number pop up right over the enemy. So in some cases, oh look, we're looking at a battle right now on the screen. If you see, the enemies will attack the players and the battle numbers pop up. It looked like you can't tell who's getting attacked. I mean, after a while, you got to train your eyes to get used to it. But some enemies do really kind of specific or like complicated attacks. Somebody might like attack you with an AoE, and then they'll hit you with a stone. That whole AoE animation comes up on this over the enemies, but it's supposed to be hitting you. So I don't know. It was tough for me to kind of parse out in my mind, but I succeeded. You know what I mean? I think I can see how the tweaks were made in the battle animation, so they weren't specifically default. I can tell where some plugins were used, like the one where, okay, this particular boss, she shields her other guys, she can tank for them, which I thought was cool. The whole drive system is it's like a OMG button. Like, okay, I can't kill the guy, so I gotta definitely use this to stop their Titan blessing or something like that. Or I'm about to die, I need to do a lot of damage to everybody, so that's there. I'm on the fence about it. I'm like, while I was playing, I was glad that it was there, but at the same time, it pulled back on the challenge element for me, because I would just attack until they have enough of that and then use that. Back to the dungeon where they had the 4 characters, and then the young girl, she had an ability called Blood Drive. Blood Drive, I noticed, didn't even have enough, it didn't heal enough HP, so it was like, it didn't impact when I was getting attacked by them spiders and bats. They were still demolishing me. You know what I'm saying? Crystal Skin. In order to give, like, I think one of the spiders or something literally had an ability called Crystal Skin, and I think that was overkill for them to have like an over HP bar, which was like, all right, I don't know if it healed them back to full or made them like they had some sort of super defense extra bar or something like that. I was like, yeah. So that was a little weird. I think I might have been nitpicking when I was taking these notes, but yeah, as I said about the weapons and stuff, Blood Drive, I think monster abilities should be more descriptive. Oh yeah. So one thing I noted about the battle system is the monster abilities. They would do random stuff like Crystal Skin. You wouldn't really know what it is. I think that I'm noticing a lot of us who are developing RPGs are going into the system and cutting out some of these system messages that will say, you have been poisoned. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I would say don't be afraid to put that in if that's going to teach the teach the player like what just happened to you, right?
Mm.
So yeah, and I think other than that, like positively, I really like how it is not so basic. So some of the enemies do have their own abilities. They have like an AI, like they you know, each battle you have to use your brain or they'll defeat you, at least in the beginning aspect. I know Cyclonic got so strong he was on attack, but it wasn't basic enemies I was fighting. They had abilities, they had some sort of strategy, and it did take me to use RPG against their, you know, their strategy. So
on the boss battles, I thought, but on, you know, the regular battles, not as much.
Right.
But and what's the deal with these fireplaces that, like in the game, like when you walk up to like the little fireplace, it like shows a bigger version of it on top.
Maybe that's a, you know, it shows.
Transform
Like,
fireplace.
Yeah, like I just don't know what's up with it.
I ain't reading the comments, man. I'll tell you, bro. I'm done. I'm freaking done. But
Dang, so yeah, what y'all think about the battle system in general?
I just thought it was pretty basic, you know, and it works, and it's okay. You know, that's kind of what I think of it. It's all right.
What you think could make it like better? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I think what would make it better is some nice sprites where you can see the characters running up to the enemies and stuff. Like that'd be cool. But I don't know if it's too late for that. But
only one game did it the best. Soul Survivor.
I kind of forget exactly what the battles were like in that.
Like the enemies, even though it was a true side view battle system, it looked like it was the layout was like your game, but the enemies like come close to you as they attack.
Oh yeah.
Like they go in back and forth when they attack. Give it a different, you know, feel. So this is my problem with the battle system. First person battle system is so outdated. It's outdated. Because this is the thing. You got, for example, the spider enemies. You know how the spiders look in this game. You got 5 spiders in a row. You know what I mean? Attacking you. Then you got 5 bats in a row. You know, it's like it's just hard to make a fun first person battle system because there's nothing exciting going on except icons flashing. Right. And animations slashing and stuff on and the enemy. There's really nothing fancy, so you either gotta have a good story, beautiful mapping, and a fun battle system. Because the battle system is gonna make up at least 50% of the gameplay. Because if you're a warrior, you gotta do some warrior stuff. You gotta show why your characters is bad, you know, bad to the bone. So in this game, the battles become repetitive. There's really no action to make the player think otherwise. All you see is attack, and the elemental skill, and that's it. It just feels like you're playing on an older machine, which in turn it could get repetitive because you're seeing the same pirates, you're seeing the same spiders, and all you do is attack. Then your drives, then your skills, you open up this menu, open up that menu, open up this menu. Why not beautify it by giving us one big 1-bit menu or maybe 2 menus for your skills and maybe your drives if you unlock more, you know, and give us, you know, make it beautified. Don't make it so plain. I think it's just too plainish. What stayed in Beachz pretty much remained. Even porting it over to a better engine where you could be more creative with the battle system. I've seen Beachz Ace games have a side view battle system, and it works. If this game had side view or whatever, but I get it. You know, the sprites, the enemy battlers. That mean you had to change. Like, look at this fight. You got 3 pirates. You know, there's nothing exciting about this. You see all these, you know, these texts popping up. You know, I mean, does it work for the game? Yeah, it works for the game based on
it's serviceable. Yeah,
based on, you know, how it looks. You know what I'm saying? But the game, like the functionality when it comes to the player of enjoying the fights and wanting to get in fights, it's not there all the way. You know what I'm saying? And now you're in the age where you're competing with side view. Even yours, Cychronic, yours has a front view battle system
with the sprites,
the sprites, and with the action sequencing.
Yeah.
You know, and 7 battlers.
And 7 battlers. Yeah. Somehow I can pull that off.
That's different. Now this, you know, and the music at that, if y'all remember how the music sound, I mean, it kind of, you hold your button on the action button, just attack. Even Cychronic just doing the attack, strike. If I played this game back in the day, it would have been amazing. The battle system would have been good, but it's just so outdated.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. When you said the game was like 10 years old, that really is impacting my way of seeing it now. Dang, you got so much EXP from that battle. I don't know. I wasn't getting that. but yeah, like now, y'all like it's 10 years old. Now I'm wondering, like, is the developer willing to update the battle system? Was that like that's the best we could?
I think it's too late. It's too late. He's too far ahead into this game. I think he's working on another game. I think it's Moreira something. Moreira, it's a new character. Learn from this game.
Yeah.
And put all the new bells and whistles in the new game that gives players more enjoyment.
For sure.
So
let me. Oh, go
ahead, my guy.
All right, because I'm so anxious to mention this because I feel bad that this game, like it's so old. I don't know if it's getting played or not, but if you waiting to put this game out like commercially, I would say don't wait. But if you could add some elements like on the world map, put like a super hard enemy that like will maybe look different from all the other enemies. You go into that battle, you get deleted, you get demolished. So that makes it the characters want to get better and challenge that boss. Put some random items that you can acquire from the enemies to make it add that little bit of randomness to get hooked, right? I think that would go a long way, and little changes would go a long way. And then we got a comment from the Twitch chat. Somebody said that the what do you call it? The troop setups were really they would like static. So you run into a group of slimes. There's always 4 slimes. I noticed that as well.
And not even that. And not even that. You got, they're like in chronological order. You got 2 bandits on one end. Then on the next the next 2 side by side, you may got 2 bit pirates, and in the middle you got the boss.
Yeah, so that does look really bland, right?
See,
so,
this is the problem with the front view. You know, this is why I don't recommend it. If you don't have a mixture of enemies, then it's gonna look like he just threw anything in there. And I love Ace of Aces. This is my homeboy. This is my, you know, my home team. And the guy is really talented. You know, he's a great developer. But I think the weakest thing for me in this game is the battle system. I think it could definitely be improved a whole lot. Even if he keeps the front view stuff, you know, maybe better text pop up, you know, damage numbers popping up, you know, something to give it more depth and more excitement, and maybe some cleaner animations. You know, it'll bring it out. It'll make it more, you know, unique.
Yeah. Okay. So how we feel in battle? You think we covered the battle all together?
I think so.
So what do we do?
What you rate it? Let's make it make sense.
Oh, yeah,
what do you rate the battle?
Sure. Oh my goodness. All right, so I can tell that there was a lot of thought put into it. I'm a fan of the traditional battle systems, right? That's the reason why I got into RPG Maker. I keep thinking about like Dragon Quest and stuff like that in the old Final Fantasies. So that's why I like solid. It's got those first 5 points out of 10, but the care I think it got put into it, I'm gonna bump it up to like a 6. And like I said, so many elements are bringing it down, but if they make these little tweaks, it would make it better, right? So like the troop variety, some of the animations are a little bit like obviously still MV animations. Yeah, some of the like I said, the messages aren't there to let the player know what kind of status you're inflicting and stuff like that. I think I even game over one time because I was poisoned. No, somebody like died in my party because I was poisoned, and I didn't know I was poisoned, right? So I'm just walking. The guy flashed the screen or something, you know. So yeah, it's just like it could be so much more. And I guess I didn't get all the way to the deep game to really give a full critique, honestly. But yeah, it's got a lot of ways it could improve. So yeah, it's a 6 for me. What y'all think?
I would rate it about the same as far as the battle system is concerned. Yeah, I think if you had you know, better action sequences, maybe a little more variety in the combat and the enemies, and stuff like that, it would make it shine a lot more. It wasn't awful though. It's a passing grade for sure.
Yeah, because believe me, yeah, it's got all the things that you need baseline, right? Even a little bit more, right? Dang, I'm not a fan of how some battle systems have numbers, and they'll have like you'll have a health bar, but then you have a number sitting over that bar that kind of overlaps the bar, so you can't even really see the number. This game is not that criminal, but that's just a sign that it's a little bit overkill. The actual humans, the heroes having weaknesses that I wasn't aware of till I had to check the status page was a little bit of overkill. You can tell it's a little bit like unnecessary stuff into the game just because maybe the plugin had that feature. But that's just me ranting. What you think, D7, of the battle?
Like I said, you know, I'm not really a fan of front view, but good front views can be done if done correctly. this game has its strengths and it has its weakness in that area. I think for me, it's the repetitiveness of the enemies, because you know, if you fighting 5 giant spiders in a cave, it just looks janky. You know what I mean? It doesn't look as good. You know, maybe put 2 spiders, that's passable, but 5. Then, you know, you're forced to do AoE, then everybody got AoE. It's like you can't really be as creative with front view than you can with side view or any type of action sequence, because it makes sense. You know, it makes sense for people to visually see action on the screen. I mean, you see a bit action. I like, you know, you got the words popping up and stuff like that. You know, it makes it doable. That's like I said, if I played this game around that time, VX Ace came out, it would have been perfect. Or VX, whatever he started this on, it would have been perfect.
For sure.
But as game evolved, people expectation evolves too in games. You feel what I'm saying? Now, we all gonna want our games like Trials Cascadia or Star Shift with the multiple battles, like the tactical battle and the side view and the front view, and maybe even some ARPG type, you know, battles inside of that. But you don't really see a lot of front view. People really take a risk doing that. But that's just my opinion. But if I was somebody just playing this game for the first time and don't really care about that, I think it would definitely be passable. And you do have people like this style of battle system. You have people out there prefer front view than side view. You know, so it all comes down to a preference. But for me, you know, it's passable. I played enough of the game to see exactly how it is. So I give it a solid 7. The battle says I give it a solid 7.
Okay. Hey, Cychronic, my bad. Did you want to speak more on why you gave it a 6?
Look, this fight right here. This is why you don't want to do front view.
Yeah, you can see that.
You see how it look?
Yeah, and I would go as far as to say the sprites look good, you know.
Yeah, they look good.
The fact that it's just copy. Right?
Yeah, that's the problem. It just look plain. You know, I would have thrown a couple of these guys and maybe some more knights. That's some stronger knights to show their authority. But when you got just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
They should change it up a little bit for sure.
You know what I mean? That's the problem.
And when I see like this type of fight, I'm just like, oh, I want to get through this as quickly as possible.
Yeah. It just this again, and especially random encounters. This fight again.
And then I try to run, and then it permanently blocks my way forward, so I can't even get through the rest of the game.
Yeah. But the game ain't bad though. But go ahead.
It's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad. I actually like the game. No cap.
Yeah. So I guess you guys want to kind of quick wrap up. I feel like personally, I'm going to finish continuing the game. I'm going to see how far I get. I'm excited to find out who is the killer in this story. I would like to see this game put on Steam and share it with others. What you guys think?
Yeah, I think it's pretty much a good idea to always do that if it's good enough, you know, and get it out there. It does help get it out there just by putting it on Steam, for sure. But when ready, of course.
Yeah.
Is this game playing for Steam?
I don't know if that's a question for developer. I don't even know. I don't think I've seen seen that in the Discord.
I don't think. I mean, only Ace of Ace knows that answer, but I know they're working on another game, and they definitely have the skill set to make another game. You know, this game could definitely, I can see it on Steam.
Yeah,
but
and it's one of those, it's like a rough kind of game. I would say if you put those elements in the gameplay,
they say maybe. They said maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll put it on Steam.
Some overhauls. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm glad you recognize that, right? So,
I mean,
I'd be excited to find the little shiny enemy that gives you the rare gem or something. You know what I mean?
Like, this game could definitely work. Like, it could definitely go commercial. It could be a commercial game. It's just going to be it's just small tidbits that need to be worked on. And me personally, you know, it's the battle system. Like you could keep everything just as is, but give us variety of more enemies. Give us some more variety instead of just fighting sextuplets of, you know what I mean, of the same enemy over and over and over. You know, it kind of get lazy in a way. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would not do this. Even your traditional RPGs back in the day on the DOS, on the DOS systems, did not do this. You may fight 2 enemies, and that's about it. You know, or maybe switch up the color, like do like what do you call it, like the slider, the color slider. Make some of the enemies red, some of them green. You know what I mean? To show one of them does magic and the other one just does physical stuff. You know, they kind of brought it out a bit, but. And you see how long it's taking Cychronic to kill these enemies. Taking them forever. All he doing is attack. He's not doing no other skill but attacking.
Well, it seemed like it was the fastest thing at the time than some of the other spells.
You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. Like you could be a final boss just attacking and not doing no skill. Attack and heal, and not beat Colo Coco's game by just doing attack and not healing. So some RPG maker developers, you know, they just need to sometimes figure out what the people wants. And this is why we do these type of streams and stuff. That way you can have an idea of what battle systems people is coming up with and enjoying. And it's not necessarily going to be liked by everyone because, like I said, there's somebody out there in Germany or in the US that likes this game as it is and give it a 10. The old D7 will probably give this a 10. But, you know, preference changes, and I think I made a comment about it. Like the battle bars, they got lines. What's the point of having the lines and they're not color coordinated? You know how, like, you start off with like a light yellow, then it goes to greenish to show that you're full, but yellow when you're lower. It kind of changes color as you go up and down. It doesn't have, so what's the point of having the bars and the numbers? It doesn't make any sense. And especially the black bars, you know, like the dividers in the health bar. It doesn't make any sense to have that.
Yeah, I know from my experience, I ain't even dropped a game yet, so I'm already kind of like, hey, good job to make this game, period, and put it out there, because I'm still working on mine. But I would advise developers to not get into that chaos of here's a plugin that can do this thing, here's a plugin that can do this thing. Like, I don't know if it's called like plugin hell, because you can see a lot of plugins that do a lot of cool things, and you think just because the plugin's cool, you want to pull it in your game. Think about whether it would actually benefit your game or not. Think about if it would actually help the synergy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, and that's the beauty of RPG Maker, guys. You could create whatever game you want.
You can do it.
But when you're trying to get to a certain audience, you gotta make it make sense. You gotta make it make sense. You know what I'm saying? Look at what the current developers are doing now. When I say current developers, I mean like developers that just release games, like Cychronic and Harlequin, what they're doing to their projects. You know, they're putting stuff in there that they personally don't like, especially Harlequin, and given what the people is expecting. Like, this battle is fine. You got two brutes and you got the boss in the middle. That's perfect. That's perfect.
Harlequin wilding over here.
You feel what I'm saying? That's perfect. But when you have a game like this that's been in development for so long, and God knows how much this developer has got accomplished, you gotta think about it. Some of y'all maybe watching probably weren't even born yet. Well, they probably were born, they probably still in elementary school. Y'all laughing. I'm being for real.
Yeah.
I'm being for real. Some of y'all was still in elementary school when this game was still being developed. So time has changed. What console came out? It was PS3, right? PS4. Still PS3 era. So things have changed. People create plugins, and we see things and we adding, and we keep adding, we keep adding, we keep adding, and the game becomes bloatware. And we add so much stuff, it's kind of hard to keep track of everything.
Spaghetti.
You feel what I'm saying? But this is definitely a passion project that's been worked on, and it definitely needs to see the light of day, to the end. Finish this race. That way you could start a new race and apply new skills and learn from this project. That's the goal. Like, how long is this project going to keep you stagnated?
Yeah.
Because I reviewed it. Nico reviewed it. I think Yorkshire Pud reviewed it. A lot of people reviewed this project. Of course, it increased your skills. It increased, the playability. But, we got to finish this race so we could move on to the next. Cause I see it, man. I see it. Like, this game is a starter game for you to do something greater.
For sure. Yeah, for sure.
It's just something that, a dream project turned to a passion project. I've been told by the greatest of the greatest, do not make your dream project your first project.
Right.
Yeah. Good comment, Ace. So he said, I'm hoping the new framework I'm working on can help in making the battler more interesting. Yeah, for sure. And I'm willing to test the new thing, man. Whatever you got. So we in the Discord.
Yeah, we in it, man. Like, we in it. If you want us, you can always ask me, D7, you want to try out my new version? I'm down with it. Don't be afraid to ask me. And Ace streams once in a while, so you could definitely do some devlog streams, you know, to show people what you're doing behind the scenes. So, yeah.
So, we covered this old game yet? We can play some new games. What are we playing next?
That's a good question. That's a good question. But you guys will find out tonight what's the next game that we're going to stream on this podcast. So, like I said, everyone, if you haven't played this game, definitely give it a shot. You may like it. You may hate it. You may have questions, and you may have, you know, ideas what the developer can do. One thing about this developer, they are open-minded. They are open-minded. They take every suggestion that's given to them and run with it.
They take good feedback. Yeah.
They take the feedback. He could have defended his game the whole stream, but he never defended it. He never defended it. He never be like, oh well, I did this. This is new. He never defended it. Like some people who saying that they are a renowned author, and you know, and felt like everything's fine because they got a degree. No, it don't work like that. A degree do not make you a good game developer. All the degree is a piece of paper. That's all it is a piece of paper saying that you completed this class. A lot of us who are jack of all trades make better games than these AAA developers with no money. So keep up the good work, Ace. Keep grinding and give us more content, brother. Just keep it coming. Keep them coming.
For sure.
Keep it coming.
So, any suggestion towards Ace? Download this game. Hit him up on the Discord. You know, get in contact with him and support his work. I believe he got a couple cook tools out. Where what exactly the cook tool does, guys? I think it protects your assets, especially you got paid assets, keep people from going in and stealing your files and just taking everything that you work hard in your game. So definitely support him, you know, in that matter, because once you do that, he got the money to buy all these cool stuff that we're asking. So definitely, you know, support him in that area, because he's a great you know, programmer.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'll check that out. The cook tools.
Yeah, cook too. So, all right, guys, I think we covered everything about Ace's game. Is there anything my podcast co-host want to say to him? You know,
saying,
before we leave.
Yeah, thanks Ace for letting us review your game. Yeah, exciting. Can't wait to see what you got next.
Immortal sins. Don't play Zola's Nightmare. That is an immortal sin. So I'm just letting you guys know. If you play Zola's Nightmare, that is unforgiven, and you will be banned permanently from the podcast. And I will make sure of it, that you are banned. Your IP address will be leaked. Your work address will be leaked. Your full name, your social security.
By AI.
You will be doxxed by AI. And if you look like Steve Urkel from Family Matters, you know who you are. Anything you gotta say, Cychronic, before we head out?
No, just like thanks Ace for letting us play your game, and it's good to have you in the Discord, and I look forward to seeing what you come up with next.
All right, guys. Nerd Boy, if you want us to play Epic Wings, you have to do what everybody does. You have to put your game in the request, and you have to join. I think you are in the RTP Discord, but you got to put your game in the review. So with that saying, guys, we are out, and we will see you guys next week. Peace. Peace out,
All right.
and y'all have a great one. Peace.
Peace out, yeah.